our Pemako style of practice, we have these awakening experiences very quickly or relatively quickly compared to other styles of yogic and Dharma practice. And the benefit and the gift of that is that, like I have written in What's Next, in my second book, the benefit of that is that you have these consecutive awakenings, sort of like making a hole through a stack of plates. And this stack of plates is our samsaric mind and its programs. But through that stack of plates that covers the light of our original nature, covers the sun, the benefit of having that hole is that the sun shines through. And this is very unique. If we start looking at different styles of yoga and Dharma practice, this is a very unique feature and a very necessary feature in our time, in this time of the world. In Tibetan style of Tantric Buddhism, the way how their system works is that they open one and then go sideways, perfect one. After they perfect the first one, then they open the second and perfect it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's very slow. It requires a lot of time. The reason why in our style that it happens that we pierce through the stack of plates is because of dynamic practices. And of course, also not only because of dynamic practices, but because we have tantric practices, empowerments, and I teach tantric practice in a very, in a way that, my students learn to absorb blessings, because that's really essential. You learn to feel, sense, absorb, and marinate in blessings. So this is very important also. But so the combination with the dynamic practices makes this happen, makes those holes come about. And I know that some of you might think that, well, I've been at it for maybe 2 years, 3 years, and I still don't have Mahasiddha Bhumis open. But I said relatively. So some Sangha members have opened all 13 Bhumis in a few months. But to me I first spent 8.5 years in retreat before my first opened. Of course, I didn't practice Pemako method, but just to give you some idea that what is relative, what relative progress means and what relatively fast progress means. So if opening of all Bhumis in your case takes 3 years, 4 years, that is still very fast. And don't forget that when you're doing committed practice, you're practicing every day, maybe taking 1 or 2 days a month off, there is this purification all the time happening. You know that because you have rough days, rough patches, dark moments. And then you feel, after those dark patches, you just keep practicing, keep applying the instructions, and when you come out of it, you feel fresher and wholer again, more than before. So, if you you shouldn't think, first of all, that after few years, if you haven't gotten to Mahasiddha Bhumis, but just try to be realistic about this, and trust me, you know. Again, in my case, when I opened my first one in 2011, my 11th Bhumi opened 2011, 5 years later. But again, I'm kind of a poor example because I didn't practice the style of practice we practice today. But anyway, in my case, it took 5 years, not even counting the retreat years before that. And then it is very rare, if we look at the big picture of all spiritual practices of the world and practitioners out there, it is very rare to find practitioners or teachers who has the whole stack of plates open, all Bhumis open, up to 11th or other Mahasiddha Bhumis. It's very rare. But then, in our Sangha, like half of the Sangha is there, just after a few years, couple of years, 4 or 5 years of practice. So this is very unique. So just do a reality check if you feel like this is not going anywhere. And this is also a reason why I was talking, on the first day I was talking about professional yogis and yoginis, professional meditators, and the need for pros in the world, in the West. I have always encouraged and recommended that Pemako students, my students, that you would do retreats and go to teachings with other teachers, or at least read books and find out about the styles and methods of whatever method you wanna learn about. Because I think that, I don't want to say that Pemako practitioners take things granted, but you kind of just often, I think, that when people in our Sangha, if they don't have experience of other styles of practice and haven't seen how, snail pace it is out there, and how, it is very common for practitioners to plateau for years and years in their practice. To me, it kind of sometimes seems that our Sangha members forget that or don't understand that, and well, perhaps in that sense kind of take our practices and what I've given kind of too casually. Maybe you could say that, for granted sometimes. Hope that doesn't sound too much of a, myself being a victim. I don't mean that, but well, I guess what I mean to say is that learn about the Dharma out there. Learn about yogic teachings, teachers, practitioners. Get a sense of what is going on outside Pemako. And of course you will see and learn other things as well. In traditional forms of both Buddhist or Hindu Tantra, you can see some similarities how we do things in Pemako. And like I have recently written, I've kind of avoided too many traditional things in Pemako, but I've recently realized that we do need more traditional features. Not go all the way, of course, but some traditional features can kind of support and hold our Sangha together better. And in that sense, serve the purpose better. And having said that, also, as you know, all traditions that grow old, they also gather needless baggage. So this is very easy for me now to separate the baggage from let's say, from science of enlightenment or yoga of enlightenment. Are you already relaxed? I was completely kind of I know we were starting rainbow body yoga, but then I forgot the whole thing, so hope you're relaxed by now. Feel the energy of love in yourself. Feel yourself as love. When I say love in yourself, I mean love that is in everything. This utterly positive energy. Samantha Bhadra. Bhadra, everything that is good. Basic goodness. And then simply enjoy that love. What is the relationship between you and that love? Let's do a little vipassana. What is your relationship between you and that love? Are those two separate things? Or are they the same? You can also check what is the distance between you and that love. Or is there no distance at all? If that question, that pointer feels too steep, too difficult, let's do this. You might feel that, okay, I am experiencing this love, this wonderful, soft, kind energy, but then there is also a sense of me. So there are two things. How about if you try to find that love from that sense of me? See if you can find it there. First you have to get a sense where that sense of me is. Is it in the head? Is it somewhere in the body or on different areas of the body? Is it in the aura? Get a sense where it is, the shape of it, the form of it. And then find that love from there. See if you can find it from there. Don't force it. See if it is there. See if the love, that pure energy, is both outside that sense of me and inside it. You can go back and compare, feel it outside of the sense of me, and again see if you can spot it inside it. When we are working with mind objects like this, when we are applying Vipassana emptiness meditation directly on mind objects, don't think that you're trying to get something done or trying to achieve or try to get a certain kind of result. Only look, only observe, only investigate. That's the only thing you need to do. I've done many guidances to awakening, and people always or usually make the mistake that they try to aim for a result. They try to get to some goal. But don't worry, don't think about the goal. Just focus, put your attention on the task, what you're doing, on the exercise. If you come to a conclusion that this is still too difficult, I just can't find that love, that purity in there, then look what is there in the middle, in the inside of that sense of me. What is there? What is this sense of me, this object floating inside in this mind space? What is it made of? What is the texture, feel, tone, shape? color, taste, smell of it. Just look. Just watch your mind. For the sake of all beings. Still too much problem solving going on. You are rusty in Sutra Vipassana. Let it flow. Let energies flow. No need to bite or grasp that sense of me like a bulldog that bites the ankle of a bull. Let it flow. So the past couple of days I've been talking about this professional yogis thing, learning the principles inside out. It takes time, it takes practice, cushion hours, and I mentioned What's Next book. In the beginning of that book, I've given a simple layout of the anatomy of our different parts of the mind, could you say, psychological anatomy. I recommend you to read that chapter, and so that you better understand different functions, different parts of the mind. By now, by the third day, it might sound like I'm giving so much homework, but again, if you wanna become good at this, some of you might want to become professionals, like myself. So in that case, if you wanna make this a career, then you need to get these things, like make them your tools rather than borrowed tools. So when I said that I sense that your Sutra Vipassana skills are a bit rusty, it means that you haven't really took a moment to learn it. Earlier today I was speaking with Kaisa about Sutra Vipassana, and that it is necessary to understand how Vipassana, emptiness meditation, works, so that we can, how Sutra Vipassana works, so that we can understand Tantric Vipassana. So in Tantric practice, we, for example, practice Guru Yoga, practice deities, and when we do those mantras and soak in those blessings and charges, what happens is that this liberation of self-delusion, self-based habits happens automatically. When we generate ourselves as the deity, we soak in Guru Rinpoche's or whoever Guru's blessings, this happens. We come to the same result through Tantric practice, Tantric Vipassana, that we get to Sutra Vipassana. But the reason why I say that you need to understand and have experience of Sutra Vipassana directly dealing with mind objects is because of those rough days, rough patches, dark nights. We in Pemako, we practice quite a bit of, in the basic mantras there is quite a bit of wrathful deity energy, and this stirs the subconscious mind, and it stirs up, brings up, anger, strong fear, strong emotions, all these really strong emotions in us. And when you have that dark night, then you shouldn't stir it up more. You shouldn't practice wrathful deities more. What you should do is to look at those strong emotions that the wrathful deities have already brought up. So there you need the Sutra Vipassana skill. I think that, I've been speaking this for years now, and to me it sometimes seems that people aren't really listening to what I'm saying, because sometimes Pemako practitioners kind of get so surprised that they have so much darkness inside, and that they have so dramatic, like really strong dark nights. This is to be expected. First of all, this is to be expected. You're looking into and stirring the pot of your karma of this life, your karma of past lives, and that pot has traumas in it, really painful memories in it, really fearful memories in it. It has memories, maybe not like clear thought memories, but emotional memories of rape and murder and genocide and everything in it. So when you start stirring it, these things come to the surface as emotions. Maybe not clear memories, but emotions. So the purpose of practice is to sort things out. And if you think or expect that you can sort things out without meeting or facing those dark, rough, hard emotions and emotion memories, then you're wrong. Then you have a wrong view, wrong understanding what the practice is about. whether Sutric or Tantric. So what I was saying is that when and if you have dark night period, when you just have so much anxiety and fear and hatred and you're fucking full of rage that you can't sleep. You can't sleep for days, maybe weeks, maybe months. Well, months usually don't happen in Pemako, but it gets intense at moments. I've been through it, I know. So you can be sure that it gets intense, but then you also need to be smart. What happens usually, like what happens in when we get scared, when somebody scares us, or if somebody attacks us on the street, or when soldiers go to war, they get paralyzed at moments. Remember this, that soldiers are even taught how they can prevent from getting paralyzed, because like in tantric practice, like in spiritual practice, getting paralyzed is kind of like you're just there taking hits and punches, and you're not doing anything to keep yourself sober and safe. So learn to remember when I'm telling you now that there will be moments when you get paralyzed, but wiggle yourself out of it, get yourself out of it. Come back to the body, force yourself into the body, squeeze the body. You know Vajra body exercise, very easy to do and fast to do. Clear your energies, comb. You can comb. I was saying that if you have dark night, don't stir the pot more with wrathful deities. So if you use empowerment mantras, remove vam, because vam is the syllable that contains all the wrathful ones. Only use a, or use Guru Rinpoche's or Yeshe Tsogya's or Duchom Dorje's mantra, my mantra, and comb your aura. Don't get paralyzed and, be there that your own internal demons are eating your life. Fight yourself out of there. There is nobody, well, you're the one who has to do it. It's your practice. Okay? I'm talking I'm scaring you a little bit purposefully, but I'm just reminding what this process requires. Because it is not like, what is that saying? It's not all wine and roses. Is that how you say it?
Fun and games.
Fun and games, or wine and roses, whatever. So be prepared. Be prepared. I will also give you a tip for those rough days and for Sutra Vipassana, which is that in Pemako we have the two-part formula for generating the first awakening experience, which opens the so-called first bhumi here behind the eyes inside the head. So there's a small center there that pops open when the first awakening happens. Even if you have awakened, had that first experience, what happens when a strong emotion takes over our system, it literally, like what I just did with my hands, it comes up like this. It covers the whole space. It takes over the system. So be it fear, be it anxiety, be it anger, be it jealousy, be it greed, be it anything, it covers the whole system, including the first boomy seat behind the eyes. So even though you have awakened all these other mental, emotional stuff, it assumes I call it assumes the throne here. So what I've seen, I've given this tip before and people have told me that, oh, that's what I was missing. Because people kind of assume, people don't know to seek, if they have very strong period, they kind of are looking for the emotions down there in the body, in the chest, in the heart, in the aura, but they don't come to look what is going on here. So check this place. Check if the biggest hook is there, the biggest knot is there. And when you find where the biggest knot is, then you're already halfway done, because you know where the problem is, and then just keep applying. So there. Okay, so rainbow bunny. Okay, let's see where we get from here. Maybe we won't get to rainbow bunny yoga at all. Let energies flow freely for the sake of all beings, to make our teachers and gurus and the lineage of our gurus, the masters in the lineage, proud, always for the sake of all beings, always for the happiness of all beings. When I was speaking about Vipassana, there was a charge of Manjushri. Manjushri is the Bodhisattva or Buddha of wisdom. Manjushri vibe in the room. Now it changed. When I started speaking of Bodhicitta, it changed to Avalokiteshvara and Vaitara. Do you notice that? No. Well, feel. For the freedom and happiness of all beings, all living beings, all sentient beings, all people, whatever age, whichever gender, whichever nationality, all people, all sentient animals, from dogs and cats and dolphins and eagles and elephants and snakes, cows and pigs, all animals. I feel like also saying a prayer for the peace and happiness of planet Earth, Mother Earth. May Mother Earth also have peace and be undisturbed, and not get hurt by the actions of human beings. In human beings, we have such a complex, like a vast, vast palette, a vast range of mental and emotional, psychological abilities that, when Buddhism, for example, talks about the 6 basic realms, we can have like a god experience or demigod experience, a ghost experience, hungry ghost, demon experience and so on in human form. Also a Buddha experience in human form. But having said that, and there being people fitting all the 6 categories, 6 realms, there's also non-physical realms. Gods, demigods, hungry ghosts, demons, animals. I think those were the 5. And then humans are the 6th. So may also all these beings, gods, demigods, hungry ghosts, demons and animals, may they be free and happy. May they be free and happy. May they be loaded with peace, loaded with natural bliss. Loaded with natural bliss. Just because it's possible. when in our basic prayers we have Bodhisattva vows, and the first line goes, I vow to liberate all sentient beings. What does it mean? It's a vow, it's an oath that Mahayana yogis and Tantric yogis take. This same vow or the same idea is also in Sanatana Dharma or Hindu Dharma. Yesterday we chanted Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu, wishing happiness to all beings in all realms. But so it is definitely there all over Hindu teachings and has been taken very seriously because there are also Mahasiddhas through Hindu traditions. But Buddha Dharma has kind of made a thing out of it for a very good reason. Because when we vow to liberate all sentient beings, it reveals something of our connection with all other forms of life that is actually already there. That vow, when we take the vow and live and practice accordingly, in accordance to it, it reveals our basic nature. It reveals Buddha nature. It reveals Mahasiddha nature. But then, also, what does it mean? I vow to liberate all sentient beings. Even the greatest of gurus, if we thought about this in a small way, I think that I have very much love and respect towards Amma, the hugging saint, who I've often talked about. And I think that she is probably, during her lifetime, she's the most influential master who has ever lived in the history. She has met so many people, touched so many people, helped so many people. But even for her, who has personally hugged, given a transmission, a blessing through a hug, she's hugged at least 35 million people. Even 35 million people is, few drops in the ocean of 7+ billion people on the planet, isn't it? So even the most influential master, like Amma, the impact is still, let's say, limited. But the vow says, I vow to liberate all sentient beings. So let's think about this. It means that you make a vow that lasts forever. It means that you vow to do everything. You vow to put all your energy and time into this project of liberating all beings. If, and I hope that you attain Mahasiddhahood in this life, and then when you leave this body, then you can do whatever you like. Maybe you want to live as a Mahasiddha in non-physical realms for 100,000 years, million years. If you wish to do so, you can. And there are many Mahasiddhas like that, who live, really, really long times, not taking a human rebirth or any other form of rebirth. And from those subtle realms, then you keep doing the Dharma work, you keep radiating blessings and, maybe like Guru Rinpoche has done many times, start a new lineage, and so on, different Dharma activities. Or like some Mahasiddhas do, you might also sooner or later want to take a new rebirth, maybe as a human, maybe as an animal, maybe in some other form. But that vow is there. That vow, like I said, puts you in connection to this basic nature of ours, this truth nature of ours, this wisdom, compassion, love nature of ours. So it doesn't matter if we die. It doesn't matter if we are born again and die again and born again, however many times, hundreds of times, thousands of times. That vow is there. Please make your vow very strong, because like we can see from people just outside our door, they are struggling and they are drowning. There are suicides, there are betrayals, there are attacks and wars and awful samsaric activities. My experience over many lifetimes is that bodhisattva vow keeps your nose even when the going gets rough, even if you take rebirth in really challenging and hard samsaric circumstances, it keeps your nose above the water and you can survive. If you don't have that vow, if I didn't have that vow, I would definitely be under the surface of water, just like most others. So please understand this, understand the importance of this. And you don't have to, it minds, for some reason today I'm kind of speaking of scary and difficult and very serious matters, but these matters also need to be spoken of. But there are others, we have a Sangha here, we have our own little Pemako Sangha, then there is the greater Dharma Sangha of other practitioners. There are many like us who are doing this, yet we are still a minority among human beings. But nevertheless, you don't have to do it alone. Okay? So don't be scared about that. Being a practitioner means that we have a heart that is big, a heart that has no limits. It means that it doesn't get tired. I have to admit that as a teacher, especially being a outsider to established Buddhism, to me it has been challenge or extreme challenge, let's put it this way. My compassion has really been tested over the years. And also students who I've taken this close and held this close have tested my compassion. And I might feel like shit for a couple of days, but this basic nature of ours, like I said, it's a heart that has no limits. And that's the beauty of it. You're not running on a small engine, you're running on an engine that is limitless. And this, of course, separates, having recognition of that heart, this basic nature, separates practitioners from non-practitioners. It separates masters from samsaric beings, Buddhas from all those beings in 6 realms. So we are not alone. We can turn to our gurus as many times as we need to. That's the case with all Mahasiddhas. Their arms and their, figuratively speaking, arms and their help is always available. Isn't that something? You can think of any person, or you can try, well, let's just say that you can think of any person and ask, would that person be available to you at any time or place? No. The answer is no, of course. But the blessings of Mahasiddhas, the shower of blessings that is always available to us, it's there. It's available. So we are not alone. But having said that, we also, as our career of practice continues, we need to grow up and become more and more independent. It's a very common bad habit in spiritual circles that people want to remain like seekers or followers, never growing up, never taking responsibility of things, just staying in the shadow of a big tree, never going out into the sun oneself and taking care of things. This is common. Also happens in our Sangha as it happens in all other Sanghas. But becoming a Siddha, getting the purification to the finish, we are forced to grow. There's no other way to finish practice. Let's sit a few more minutes. I didn't even realize that I've been talking for an hour. Oh yes, what I was getting to is that we were wishing freedom and happiness to beings of six realms. Then I would like to do something that I haven't done on retreat in a while, which is to ask the blessings of the Mahasiddha family. Behind the Pema Commission there is a very unique group of Mahasiddhas that have who want to give support to this Sangha and this mission particularly. Of course they are giving support to other practitioners out there, even other followers of other religions out there also, but kind of as a foundation of Pemako mission there is this Mahasiddha family of many masters from Hindu tradition, Buddhist tradition, even Taoist, Christian traditions. So I'm turning to Mahasiddha family, dear Mahasiddhas, dear Master Brothers, Master Sisters, please take our hands, shower us with your blessings, take our hands, sit in our hearts, shower us with your blessings. stay in tune with the Mahasiddha masters of the Mahasiddha family and understand that even if you didn't have a karmic connection with some of the Mahasiddhas of the Mahasiddha family before, you have now, and they are with you forever. So you don't need to do this alone. Please lie down, like I said, stay in tune with them. So lie down for 25 minutes, and then let's take tea break for 20 minutes.